Hi, my name's Tom Clendon, your SBR online lecturer, and I'm delighted today to be joined by somebody I've worked with for many years, and that is Sean Purcell. Welcome, Sean.
Hi there, Tom. How are you? Keeping well?
I am keeping well. I am feeling positive, but I'm testing negative. How are you?
I'm fine, Tom. Very fine.
So
Yeah,
why you teach SBL, Sean, don't you? That's your love, teaching strategic business leader. Can you
that's
can
right,
you tell
Tom. Yep.
Can you tell me why you love teaching it and how long you've been teaching it?
Oh, well, how long? I've been teaching it a very long time, Tom, actually, probably nearly 25 years. So I obviously started as a child. Um, so that's how long I've been doing it. I love teaching it because to me, it's a ever-changing subject that relates to real life. Unlike maybe, a mathematical subject, which is fairly static, 1 and 1 is always going to be 2. Whereas on SBL, it's not. And, that is a challenge for students who are coming out of the more technical kind of exams. But yeah, it's just, it's a reflection of what's going on in real life. And I've always been interested in what businesses are doing. So yeah, that's why I like teaching SBL.
So SBL is the latest kind of acronym for this softer skills and real life scenarios. I remember P1 and P3. Why did the ACCA make that change? And what is it about SBL that is cutting edge?
Well, I mean, ACCA are a fantastic professional body, and they obviously keep their ears to the ground and listen to what effectively are their customers, which would be finance people in practice and in industry. And I think finance people in practice and industry were kind of saying, look, we need people who have a bit of a more practical focus as opposed to ones that can regurgitate theory. So P1 had a little bit of an audit and control focus, and you could kind of learn some theories that you might learn on an audit paper and gain marks on P1. And there were some academic theories that you could learn and regurgitate in a way, they asked you to use models on what was P3. Whereas SBL is a much more applied exam, which really is not an academic exam at all. So it's, I think
if it's not an academic exam, Sean, how do you teach people to pass it? How do you
well,
convey the skills? Tell me about that.
how do you convey the skills? Well, I think there's, what should I say? I would say you can use the academic theory, for want of a better word, as a catalyst to organize your thoughts in your brain. I often describe it as the secret skills of a strategy consultant. So if you read any business journalism or anything like that, often the way these people structure arguments is based, I know, because I know a bit more about academic theory than maybe a lot of people do. And I can see that they're actually using the academic theory as a way of structuring their argument, but they never actually mention the theory. So the theory is very useful to catalyze your thoughts, to arrange them, to help you gain marks, but you would never reveal them. So there's a theory about the competitive nature of a company's environment called Porter's 5 forces. And if you mentioned that in the workplace, people would think, Porter, what department does Porter work in? Never heard of him. What he must be in a different floor. And so you would never say that at work. But if you knew Porter's 5 forces as a theory, you could use it as a really good interrogation tool of the case study material and get a lot of information that way rather than just trying to work it out yourself. So yes, I would say these are the theories, but you do not regurgitate them and you do not need to use all of them, but they are a useful way to structure your mind and create a checklist. So that's how theory comes in, but you would really get, well, you wouldn't be a high scorer or get any marks for mentioning theory in the SBL exam.
So it's quite a practical exam, and when you're
very
teaching,
practical.
yeah. So when you're teaching SBL, do you share your experiences and bring in real life examples? Is that the way it works?
Yes, a bit of both, really. I will, mix it up. So, what is happening in the world? What is happening in real life? In another part of my life, I actually work as a management consultant in finance companies, trying to make them uh, adopt some of the competencies that SBL wants students. So it's to adopt. So that's quite useful for me. I can draw on that. But yeah, mix it. Real life. Why are they doing it? But also anchoring it with maybe some structures. So, students like structures, so they can answer questions. But, blanking it in real life makes it more interesting as well.
Sure,
Yeah.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So in terms of students coming to this paper, they want to pass the paper. That's what they want to do. They want to get through the exam. So how important is time management? How important is doing mocks? What do they need to do to pass this exam with you, Sean?
Well, the all of those things, Tom, really, and I'm sure it's the same with SBR. But for me, an exam is a project management exercise in mark acquisition. That's what an exam is. And some students just tell me a story. And that's great, but that story is either too long for the marks are awarded or not sufficient. So it's really important that you get coached on how to execute an answer that gets you a good pass. So that's the main thing. And to do that, you have to understand the dynamics of time. So you need to practice the time. Increasingly now, everyone's doing this on the CBE platform. You need to be understanding how to deliver it on the CBE platform, not submit your answer on paper or on Word or Excel, on the CBE platform to time. And that's why I do all of that on my course. You only answer using a CBE platform. And yeah, it's time, it's mark focus, and there's also a bit of confidence, Tom. I think students need, and they
And
get that from get.
how do you build? Sorry, I interrupted
Yeah,
you
no,
there.
fine.
So how do you build that confidence in them? Because I see that in my SBR students as well. I'd like to hear what you how you do it.
Well, I would. Um, the problem students have, I think, is some of their earlier papers, 1 and 1 does equal 2, but on SBL, it can go down a number of roads. And I would show them an answer wouldn't be a definitive one answer. I would say, well, look, here's an answer that will get marks, but had you gone down this road and structured it this way, that would have also got marks. And equally, had you gone down this road, this would have got marks. So please be confident that it's not just, it's a bit like saying, who's right, British Airways or EasyJet? Who's right? They're both successful, profitable companies. They both make money, but they both run businesses in completely different ways. But they both are successful. And so if
Well,
you can show
they were
people that,
successful pre-COVID.
well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, even post-COVID, some have been nicer to their customers than others, haven't they, with
Yeah.
regards to refunds? But yeah, so if I can show you that that's okay and I can give you feedback, I think it's very hard if you've got an examination kit or you're looking at past questions on your own and just looking at model answers. It's like, oh, am I right or am I wrong? And I feel sorry for, it's very difficult, I think, that people, I mean, one thing students can do if they are studying on their own, and something I spend a lot of time digesting, is all the examiner reports, because the examiner gives lots of insight there. And actually, examiner reports are really marker feedback. The main people, so the markers will give feedback on what they interpreted from the way students answered papers, and the examiner consolidates that into an examiner report. So if you are struggling on your own, looking at past papers, that might be something to look at. But I think it makes your life a lot easier if you have a coach to help you and guide you along that path to give you confidence that you are doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. My heart goes out to students who have to study on their own. I think one of the great things about the internet is this, disintermediation, this ability for us as experienced tutors to be able to reach out directly to students who want good quality tuition. Are you enjoying teaching online, Sean?
I am, but it's interesting you say students who want good quality tuition. I think it can be difficult if you're a student who is not aware of the market, what is good quality and what is, well, not very good quality. And someone who has a fancy website is not necessarily someone who knows what they're talking about. And I think, students, you might think, oh, well, you would say that, Sean. I would say go onto the ACCA website, have a look at the people who are the people ACCA choose to run webinars for SBR or SBL, and you may recognize some of the voices and faces, but you do your own homework, work that out, and then these people who claim to be experts for SBR or SBL or any other paper, if you can't find them anywhere on the on the ACCA website, you would question, well, why aren't the ACCA using them? And both you and I have been very active teaching tutors, teaching students, running conferences and I mean, I was involved with SBL 2 years before the exam was even launched, writing all the training for the tutors and trialing and we were modeling and stuff like that. And hey, that's why I'm confident to say I'm an expert on SBL, and that's why the ACCA do. But I do think the problem with the internet is anyone can say they're an expert.
Yes.
And I look at some of it and I just cringe. I say, that's actually wrong information that you're saying there. They
That's why
use,
it's good to go back to the examiner's reports, isn't it?
yeah.
That's why it's good to go back to an expert coach like your good self.
Yeah. I'll just say be careful online as well. Just make sure you reference it with ACCA blessing. And some people I see they even put ACCA papers online and start debriefing them with, oh, anyway, let's be positive. Yes.
Let's be positive. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Sean. It's fantastic talking to you, and thank you for giving up your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Have a nice Christmas.